Scorpio, welcome to your astrology reading for the month of July. So before I get started, this is going to be most applicable for your rising sign, also known as your ascendant. It is still applicable for your sun sign and your moon sign. And so your rising sign is how other people perceive you, especially the first time they meet you. Your sun sign is how you express yourself. And then your moon sign is how you process everything emotionally. So to kind of get an understanding of how the month is going to play out, you could listen to all three. It's going to help guide you in that way. Where I find it to be the most significant is with the rising sign. And so just taking a look here at the energy in the month of July. So we actually have our second full moon in the sign of Capricorn. This is a not normal occurrence. It's very rare that we have two moons in the same sign in the same year, but it's happening. So we had one on June 21st. We have one on July 21st. This moon in Capricorn energy is really emphasizing how do you feel about structures that you have in place or goals that you've set for yourself, your responsibilities, things like that. And so that full moon, again, kind of highlighting, it'll do it a little bit differently. So if you think about what you were doing on the 21st and how that felt, this one is going to impact you a little bit differently, but kind of similar themes, different impact. Then we also have more planets stationing retrograde this month. And so kind of before we even get into July, we already had Pluto station retrograde in the sign of Aquarius. We just had Saturn station retrograde in the sign of Pisces on the 29th. And then this month we'll have Neptune in Pisces and Chiron in Aries, both station retrograde. And that happens right away. So the first thing that I want to talk about here is Neptune station retrograde in the sign of Pisces. That happens on July 2nd at 6:40 in the morning Eastern time. What this means is Neptune in Pisces. Neptune is the ruler of Pisces. So this is all about your dreams, your goals, everything kind of big picture. What do you want for yourself? When it stations retrograde, there's an internal reflection on what it is that you're trying to achieve here. What do you want for yourself? What are your ultimate goals here? And for you, this Neptune retrograde in Pisces is sitting in your fifth house of fun. And so this may be connected to children. It might be connected to your hobbies, your passion projects, short-term relationships. All of these things are highlighted here. This Neptune retrograde will also trine Mercury in the sign of Cancer. And so Mercury in Cancer is a lot of communication around how do you feel, but it's sitting in your ninth house of growth. And so there's some sort of easy blend of energy. So when you think about what do you enjoy doing in your free time? How do you want to spend your free time? It's going to blend very easily with what you're trying to accomplish from a growth standpoint. How do you feel? Maybe communicating some sort of growth for yourself here. This Neptune retrograde will also sextile the moon in Taurus. The moon in Taurus for you is sitting in your seventh house. And so those are your significant relationships, your one-to-one, maybe a spouse. Not everybody gets married. Not everybody wants to get married. So if you're living with somebody, it would be that type of relationship, that person that you're committed to. And so with this Neptune retrograde in Pisces, it's creating some sort of opportunity. So however you see yourself wanting to spend your free time, it's creating an opportunity to feel really grounded in your relationship and really focusing here on what you value about that relationship. This Neptune retrograde in Pisces will also sextile Uranus in the sign of Taurus. And so again, how do you want to spend your free time? What are your goals there? It's creating some sort of opportunity to break down any kind of barriers that might exist in that relationship or remove any kind of blocks in that relationship. Uranus in Taurus wants to remove anything that you don't value, that you don't find practical for you in the context of those significant relationships. Just think of it through that lens. It's creating an opportunity. You would have to take some sort of action on it. It's not just going to happen on its own. And this Neptune retrograde in Pisces will also sextile Pluto retrograde in the sign of Aquarius. And so really internally reflecting on what do you want to do in your free time when you're not working. It's creating an opportunity here for you to make changes at home. Remove any kind of barriers or obstacles from a home environment. And these would be internal because that Pluto is retrograde already. And so it's creating opportunities for you to really go after exactly what you want here. Then a couple hours later, still on July 2nd at 8:50 in the morning Eastern time, we'll have Mercury enter the sign of Leo. Mercury, all about communication. But now in the sign of Leo, this is very bold, very dynamic type of conversation. Leo can also be a little bit dramatic here, but for you, this is all sitting in your 10th house. And so this is a lot of speaking out as some sort of leader. You might be a leader at work, and this is really giving you that nudge to really approach it from that perspective, really speak out in a way that kind of has this sense of authority behind it, really being bold in that way. It's helping you because there's a trine to this Neptune retrograde in Pisces. And so it's going to blend with whatever you're trying to accomplish in your free time. This is where your career is helping you here. So if you have passion projects you want to go after, is it giving you the confidence to do that? Or maybe taking on some sort of leadership role also maybe gives you this opportunity to do something as it relates to children or something along those lines. I mean, this is an easy blend of the energy, so you're not really going to have to work for it. It is going to happen. It's just going to be maybe something that you notice. This Mercury and Leo energy will also sextile the moon in Taurus. And so speaking up or, speaking into some sort of leadership role, kind of taking on that persona at work creates an opportunity here. So the moon in Taurus, it's feeling very grounded within your relationship. And so again, kind of going back to that confidence. Leo has confidence in spades. And so this is really exuding that type of confidence at work. It might be doing something that also aids in your relationship. It's something where it's creating an opportunity for you to feel really grounded. So it is an opportunity you're going to have to seize. This Mercury in Leo will also sextile Uranus in the sign of Taurus. And so when it comes to this relationship, however you're speaking out at work, whatever kind of authority that you've picked up or that confidence that you've picked up, it is also giving you an opportunity to remove any kind of obstacles or barriers as it relates to that significant relationship. If there's something here that just isn't practical for you, you just don't need it anymore within the relationship, get rid of it. It's old news, not needed. So it's giving you that confidence to get rid of that. This Mercury in Leo will also square Chiron in Aries. And so anything that you're doing from that leadership type of expression at work, or that confident, that boldness that you're exuding from a work environment, it's square. So it's creating some sort of obstacle or challenge to a wound related to your daily life. I'm trying to think of a really good scenario here. So daily life incorporates a lot of things. So it could be just your work. There could be something here that you're doing at work that's maybe preventing you from doing something else in your daily life that would allow you to heal from some sort of wound. Maybe you're using work as some sort of escape, or using that to kind of propel you up the ladder. But this Chiron in Aries sitting in your 6th house, these could be things related to your health and fitness. These could be things, just anything that you do on a regular basis is incorporated within that 6th house energy. And so there's some sort of wound that's coming to the surface, or that just exists there that you need to take some sort of action on. But right now is not the time, unless you want to work through it. I mean, you can. That's a square energy. It's not impossible. It's something you're going to have to work through. We'll also have Mercury in Leo opposite Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. And so this communication, how you're speaking from a work standpoint, that sense of authority that you're exuding, it is opposite any kind of internal changes that you want to make at home. So that Pluto retrograde sitting in your 4th house of home. And so this is kind of that home life versus work life type of, where do I find the balance here? What is it that I'm trying to accomplish? Where can I find that happy medium? And then on the 5th, we'll have the new moon in the sign of Cancer. So that's going to happen at 6:57 in the evening, Eastern time. And in Cancer, so the sun and the moon are at the same degree point, overlapping energies. This is a lot of expressing how you feel. The moon's the ruler of Cancer, so there's this extra emphasis on how you feel. But Cancer really likes to get in deep with those emotions here. And so easy blend of energies. It's all sitting in your 9th house. So how do you feel from a growth standpoint? What are you trying to expand in your life? How do you feel about going after something here? Because it's not just the sun and moon that are sitting in your 9th house. We also have Venus in the sign of Cancer sitting in your 9th house. And so this new moon is also highlighting what you value from a growth standpoint, what you're trying to accomplish here. Is there something that you're trying to bring together? This could be something, Venus rules relationships. Is there a relationship here that you're trying to grow and that you really value here? That would be something, that would be some sort of emotional connection. That's not going to be true for everybody, but Venus does like to bring things together. So whatever you're trying to accomplish from a growth standpoint, Venus is kind of encouraging you along the way. as is this new moon. The sun and moon will also trine Saturn retrograde in Pisces. So Saturn retrograde is all about you working on yourself as it relates to your goals and your dreams when it comes to your free time. So children, passion projects, short-term relationships, it's all going to blend with how you feel about your growth and what you're trying to accomplish here. This is an easy flowing energy. We'll also have this new moon. So the sun and the moon will sextile Mars in the sign of Taurus. And so this new moon is also going to create an opportunity for you to take some sort of action here within that significant relationship. Mars is all about removing things or really being decisive and taking some sort of action here. Mars is usually that bold type of action, but in the sign of Taurus, it wants to be very grounded and very practical in the action that it takes. We'll also have the sun and moon square Chiron in the sign of Aries. And so this new moon, everything you feel from an expansion standpoint, what you're trying to do here, it is going to create some sort of obstacle or challenge to healing that daily life wound. This feels a lot like you might be doing things that just kind of divert your attention or distract you in some sort of way from taking some sort of action and healing this wound. That's not going to be forever. By the time we get to the end of the month, this is going to be more front and center for you to address. We'll also have the sun and moon square the north node in the sign of Aries, as well as the south node in the sign of Libra. And so with this square energy, it is obstacles and challenges, but north node specifically. So how you feel from a growth standpoint, what it is that you're trying to accomplish here, it's going to create obstacles and challenges to the action that you need to take in your daily life. And it's going to be connected to this Chiron energy. It's going to be connected to that wound coming to the surface. It's also going to create conflict. So that kind of, again, going after your growth here is going to create conflict or some sort of challenge as it relates to some sort of internal balance here. So Libra for you is sitting in your 12th house. It is your subconscious. Libra is all about balance. And so there might be something here about this new moon that might have you feeling a little bit off here. It's not going to last forever. I mean, the sun and the moon, they're both fast moving energies. So they're not going to be in this placement for very long, especially not the moon. The moon moves signs every couple of days. We'll also have Venus enter the sign of Leo during the month of July. So that's going to happen on the 11th at 12:19 in the afternoon Eastern time. Now, Venus in the sign of Leo. So Leo, your house of career and public reputation. Venus likes to bring things together. And so this is about what you value, what you want to bring together as it relates to your career. There is an easy flow of energy with this Neptune retrograde in Pisces. So how do you want to spend your free time? There is this real connection by emphasizing what you value at work or in your career and going after it. It's giving you an opportunity to really enjoy and go after your passion projects, children, short-term relationships, those kinds of things. This Venus and Leo energy will also sextile the moon in the sign of Virgo. The moon in Virgo is really about getting in touch with some sort of emotional healing. Virgo for you is sitting in your 11th house of friendships. So this is your community of friends. It's not those individual relationships, it's the collective. And what this is doing is anything that you value within your career or you're pursuing within your career, it's creating some sort of opportunity for you to feel like maybe some sort of healing with your friends or your friendships in some sort of way. It's really getting in touch with your emotional side. This might even be below the surface because Virgo, I mean, in tarot, it's that hermit energy. So it's that kind of energy here where it might be below the surface, but there's something here with your friends. This Venus in Leo will also sextile Uranus in the sign of Taurus. And so when it comes to your significant relationship here, what barriers need to be removed? It's creating some sort of opportunity. So again, how maybe you're expressing yourself within your career or what you're trying to accomplish within your career, being loyal to it, bringing something together, really being bold and assertive. It's creating some sort of opportunity to remove barriers in that significant relationship. Venus in Leo will also square Chiron in the sign of Aries. And Chiron in Aries, again, it's that wound that's coming to the surface. So whatever you're doing in your career, it's creating obstacles or challenges for you to actually do something about this wound, but it's more like all of my attention's here, none of my attention's over here. And so that's why there's this challenge coming into the picture, because your energy's just not focused there. It's focused on your career and addressing that. This Venus and Leo energy will also be opposite Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. And so this is 10th house, 4th house type of energy, again, where we're looking at home life, balance, whatever it is that you're doing within your career, being loyal to your career, even what you value about it, will be opposite any kind of changes that you want to happen at home. Then we have Mars enter the sign of Gemini. So that's going to happen on the 20th at 4:43 in the afternoon Eastern time. I really like Mars in Gemini. Mars is the planet of action. Gemini is definitely a thinker, just like Virgo is. But Gemini here, I mean, this is about digging deep, getting into all the details, wanting the truth of the situation. And so with this Mars in Gemini energy, it's about whatever actions you're going to take, they will be based on all the facts. So whatever you decide to do, you're making an informed decision. These are informed actions that you're taking. It's sitting in your 8th house of transformation. So if there's something here that you need to let go of or pursue, because that is transformation, so it is death and rebirth, you have all the facts necessary in order to be able to do it. This Mars in Gemini will trine Neptune retrograde in Pisces. And so it's going to completely line up with however you want to spend your free time. So easy flowing energy, no work required on your part. But this Mars in Gemini will create an opportunity here because it will be sextile moon in Virgo. And so when it comes to your friendships and really getting in touch with healing those friendships, thinking about those friendships, how do you feel about all of those, whatever transformation or whatever action you're taking as it relates to your own transformation, it's creating some sort of opportunity to really get in touch with what you value and what you feel and think and maybe need to heal within your friendships. And again, this feels all very internal with that Virgo energy, that hermit type of energy. Mars in Gemini will also sextile Uranus in the sign of Taurus. And so the actions that you're taking on yourself to really transform who you are, it's also going to create an opportunity to remove any kind of obstacles or challenges within your significant relationship. This Mars in Gemini will also square Chiron in Aries. And so this is a lot of internal transformation, the informed actions that you're taking. It is going to create some sort of obstacle or challenge as it relates to this wound in your daily life that does need to be addressed. Aries is kind of like, we need to take some action here, but now doesn't seem to be the right time. Mars in Gemini will also be opposite Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. And so this informed transformative action that you're taking within yourself, it's going to be opposite the internal changes that are happening in your home life. And so it's a push-pull because this is an 8th house, 4th house energy. It is something that you can work with though. It's not going to be, you just have to find it. You just have to find that happy medium here because there is something here. There is a lot of action that you're taking to transform yourself. Kind of in both respects because that Pluto retrograde is also internal transformation. Then we have our second full moon in the sign of Capricorn. So that is going to happen on the 21st at 6:17 in the morning Eastern time. So it's pretty much exactly a month. 6:21 it was at night, 7:21 it's in the morning. So we're looking at a month different. With the moon in Capricorn, this is how do you feel about your responsibilities, structures that you might have in place, goals that you've set for yourself. Capricorn loves to set goals. So that is sitting in your house of communication, whereas the sun in Cancer is sitting in your 9th house, and these are at opposite points in the sky. And so this sun in Cancer, this is really about expressing yourself. How do you feel about things? That's that Cancer energy. It is sitting in that house of growth and expansion. And so this could be something where you've created these structures and you felt really good about them, but in order for you to grow, something here needs to change. That would be this full moon type of energy here. So it's like, I know something needs to change, but I feel really good about what I've established for myself. And so during this full moon, we're going to have the planets. So because the moon and the sun are at opposite points, they're going to talk to the same planets just a little bit differently here. So with the moon will trine Mars in Gemini. And so when it comes to any kind of transformation that is taking place, what action do you need in order to continue transforming? It's going to completely line up with the structures that you already have in place for yourself and how you feel about those responsibilities or maybe those goals that you've set for yourself. So this is an easy flow of energy, no work required on your part. However, the sun in Cancer will sextile Mars in Gemini. And so in order for you to grow and expand, you are going to have to take advantage of some sort of opportunity to transform yourself in a different way. This sextile Mars in Gemini is giving you an opportunity to maybe take different action in order to transform. Whereas your existing structures kind of line up, your existing responsibilities, goals that you've set for yourself. But if you want to expand and grow, you're going to have to take different action. This moon and actually the sun will both square Chiron in Aries. And so the moon in Capricorn, sitting in your third house. So this is all about your communication, really understanding how all these structures that you have in place, talking about them, how do you feel about them? It's creating some sort of obstacle or challenge to heal that wound in your daily life. But the sun is doing the same thing. So it's not even just your existing structures, it's also your growth opportunity here. The growth that you're trying to pursue for yourself is also creating some sort of obstacle or challenge. And it feels a lot like more that your energy is just diverted elsewhere. And so a square, you would just have to work through the energy in order to make it work. Then we'll have the moon in Capricorn trine Uranus in the sign of Taurus. And so these structures, maybe responsibilities, there's an easy flow of energy to whatever it is that you're trying to do and change within your significant relationship here. Something that would make it more practical, more grounded, more in line with what you value. Whereas the sun in Cancer, so this is about your growth, it's going to create an opportunity for you to maybe make some different changes when it comes to this relationship. Because everything, what's coming across here from a full moon standpoint is that you've set these structures up for yourself and you feel really good about them. But if you also want to grow, then it can't stay the same. You don't get both. And so you do have to see some of these opportunities if that's your ultimate goal, is to grow here. We'll have the moon in Capricorn sextile Neptune retrograde in Pisces. And so here's where the structures that you have in place are creating an opportunity for you to maybe look at your free time a little bit differently. This one here is creating an opportunity. So the structures that you have in place, creating an opportunity to maybe go after what you want from a hobbies or passion standpoint, or maybe have children or short-term relationships, something along those lines. It's an opportunity you would have to seize, but it is there for you to do. Whereas the sun in Cancer, now your growth is completely lined up with what you want to do and how you want to spend your free time, going after your passion projects, doing something with children, something along those lines. This is an easy blend of energy. You won't have to work for it. We'll also have the moon in Capricorn conjunct Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. And so all of these structures that you have in place within your house of communication, so talking about these structures, how do you feel about them, the impact of those, maybe responsibilities, those goals that you've set for yourself, completely line up with whatever changes are taking place within your home environment. Whereas that's going to line up, but now your growth isn't going to. So the sun in Cancer is going to be opposite this energy because the moon is conjunct. And so if you are looking to grow and things like that, it is creating some sort of push-pull energy to the actions or the internal transformation happening in your home life. And so this is where, if you really are focused on this growth and expansion and how do you feel about that, going after that, you can find the happy medium between the two. It does require work though. And then on the 22nd, we have the sun enter the sign of Leo. So that's going to happen at 3:45 in the morning Eastern time. The sun is the ruler of Leo, so it is really that energy amplified. There is a lot of optimism. There's a lot of shining a light on everything. And so it's about really kind of stepping out of your comfort zone, being bold and dynamic. Leo energy, when you think about tarot, it's strength. So it's really about kind of putting yourself out there in a way that is meaningful. And so when the sun enters the sign of Leo here, it will be trine that Neptune retrograde in Pisces. And so the sun in Leo, this is connected to your, again, your expression at work, really stepping into that leadership type of role here is going to easily blend with whatever you want to do in your free time. However you are looking to spend your free time, completely aligned. The sun in Leo will also sextile Mars in the sign of Gemini here. And so when you think about your career and any kind of bold action, really stepping out, speaking out here, it's creating an opportunity for you to take more action as it relates to your internal transformation. Again, it's based on all the facts. Every action that you're taking with this Mars and Gemini energy, you have all of the knowledge that you need in order to make the right decision for yourself. So just kind of keep that in mind. This sun in Leo will sextile Uranus in the sign of Taurus. And so really kind of stepping out within your career, maybe taking on some sort of leadership role here, it's creating an opportunity for you to make some sort of change within this relationship, within your significant relationship, really putting it in a grounded, practical, let's focus on what we value type of way. Let's get rid of all the stuff that doesn't belong or might even be holding you back. This sun in Leo will also opposite Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. And so this is 10th house, 4th house energy. So this is home life versus work. And so any kind of leadership action that you're taking, really stepping out and taking on that really assertive role, it is going to be opposite any kind of changes that are happening within your home environment. These are liberating changes. These are changes that are happening internally. It's just that right now there is an opposition. You would need to find that happy medium between the two in order to be able to work through it. And then on the 25th, we have Mercury enter the sign of Virgo. So that's going to happen at 6:42 in the evening Eastern time. Mercury rules Virgo, and as well as Gemini, but with Virgo, it adds an additional layer here of healing. Virgo doesn't like to think just to think. Virgo likes to think, so how do I process this information? How do I heal from this type of, from everything that I'm learning? And it completely lines up with Mercury entering Virgo will immediately trine Chiron and Aries. And so easy flowing energy with understanding what you need to do, what actions you need to take in order to heal whatever this daily life wound is. Or, I'm trying to think of it could be like a nutrition type of wound, fitness, maybe something connected to your daily life in general. But this Mercury in Virgo is sitting in your house of friends. And so it's almost like you're able to use your friendships and what you've learned about your friends and maybe any kind of healing that has taken place within your friends, your friend circle, your tribe, will help you kind of heal this wound in your daily life. So there might be something connected to that, because daily life, again, includes a lot of different things. It's how you live on a regular basis. It's your regular routine. It doesn't have to be the exact same thing every single day. This Mercury in Virgo, sitting in your house of friendships, will square Mars in the sign of Gemini. And so really kind of thinking about any healing that's taken place within your friends, or how do you feel about your friends and the relationship that you have with them. It is creating some sort of obstacle or challenge for you to take additional action in order to transform. But it's a square energy. You can work through it. It just does require you to work through it. Mercury in Virgo will also square Uranus in the sign of Taurus. And so it's a lot of here, when I think about my friends and I'm thinking about the healing with my friends and how do I feel about all of this, kind of really thinking through the details here, it is creating some sort of obstacle or challenge to remove additional blocks or barriers in your significant relationship here. But again, it's a square. You can work through it. It's not impossible. It just requires effort. Then we have Chiron stationed retrograde in the sign of Aries. So that's going to happen on the 26th at 9:59 in the morning Eastern time. Now, Chiron is the wounded healer. So in retrograde, it's about wounds coming to the surface. And because Chiron is already wounds within us. So how do we get that to the surface? That's what this is doing. That's what this retrograde is all about. It is in the sign of Aries. Aries wants to take some sort of action. So let's bring it to the surface. Let's figure out how do we address it. So for you, it's sitting in your house of daily routines, your daily life. And so right away when Chiron stations retrograde, it's actually going to be conjunct the moon in the sign of Aries. And so the moon is you understanding and really emotionally processing what action is needed in order to heal this wound, because it's all sitting in your 6th house. Chiron retrograde will also trine Mercury in Virgo. And so this is where now you get this understanding of, this is what I need to do. How do I leverage what I've learned about my friendships, what I've healed through there? How do I use that and help me aid in this healing of a wound as it relates to your daily life? So all of that, very easy energy. Chiron retrograde will also trine Venus in the sign of Leo. And so this is where something connected to your career and being bold and really taking that leadership type of action in your career is also going to help you heal this wound that's coming to the surface in your daily life. Chiron retrograde in Aries will create a square to Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. And what this really kind of indicates is that your energy is going to be diverted and it's going to be focused more on this healing that needs to take place in your daily life, as opposed to continuing to change or revamp whatever is happening within your home environment. So Scorpio, this is your reading. I hope it resonates. If it did, please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Take care.